Hi everyone, welcome back to the very last session of this 1 week long series on election reporting. So we've finished our workshops as of this afternoon. Some of you have attended the YouTube for elections earlier today. So right now for this session, it's not a workshop, it's a casual conversation that we're gonna have with our colleagues from KompasKini, KompasTV and MalaysiaKini. Sorry, that was a total mishap on my end. So it's been a long day. So I know a lot of you have a very, very busy and hectic schedule, which is why maybe some of your colleagues cannot attend simply because we have a very big news day today in Malaysia. But we'll record this and hopefully we'll be able to share with your colleagues later on so they can have a watch back to just have a look at the great work that KompasTV has done during their Indonesian elections in 2019 and also what MalaysiaKini has done with the last GE and also during the last year's state election. Now, as you all know, this session is sponsored by Google News Initiative, and my name is Trina. I'm the Southeast Asia Teaching Fellow for Google News Lab. I'll be moderating today's session, and if you want to check out and know more about Google News Initiative, this is our website, g.co/news training. And so our speakers today really come from a very, very experienced background. First off, we have Alexander Wibisono. He's the Deputy General Manager for News and Current Affairs at KompasTV. And he's been part of KompasTV from the very beginning, and starting the news gathering and digital team. And his focus generally when he came on board was to accelerate Indonesia's Kompas is a national newspaper, right? But they were entering a broadcast in the broadcast avenue. So his job was mainly how to bring this broadcast arm of a traditional newspaper into the internet era. And so he has this great wealth knowledge on newsroom integration and audience engagement. And as if you check out KompasTV on YouTube, you can see that they have nearly 10 million subscribers, which is really amazing number. And their news clips regularly garner at least several million views, including the ones that he'll talk about, which is Indonesia's 2019 general election. Our second speaker is Andrew Ong, and he is the news editor at MalaysiaKini. He basically works on the editorial side of covering political coverage, election coverage, and making MalaysiaKini subscribers basically stay on and would keep annual subscriptions. So I think that most of us here are very familiar with MalaysiaKini's work. They've been doing very great work for the last few years, especially since after the last GE. So he's going to share about what MalaysiaKini has done with regards to their election coverage. Now, I'm not going to spend any more time babbling. I'm just going to pass on the session to Alex. Mas Alex, you can begin whenever you feel free, right?
Okay, thank you, Trina. I will speak in Bahasa. Selamat petang, saya Alex dari Indonesia, dari Kompas TV. Hari ini saya akan sharing tentang YouTube dan presidential election ya, pemilihan presiden di 2019. Kenapa? Karena itu momen yang sangat penting buat Kompas TV, karena di momen itu YouTube kami menjadi tumbuh besar. Ada momentum untuk grab greater audience and viewers and subscribers, dan hari ini kita bisa mencapai 10 juta subscribers di YouTube kami. Jadi ini momen yang sangat penting. Yang kedua juga kalau kita bicara YouTube, maka kita akan bicara soal terkait audience. Who is our target audience? Our target audience is young people, 18 until 25 years old. Itu target kami. Jadi kemasan, packaging dari berita, dari konten itu juga harus bisa menarik mereka. Dan yang ketiga, mungkin yang menjadi juga dasar dari presentasi ini adalah ketika kita bicara YouTube, kita bicara tontonan video, maka kita juga tidak boleh melupakan ada unsur fun dan light stories gitu ya, entertaining, yang karena orang menonton video itu tertarik tidak hanya isu yang sangat serius gitu ya, tetapi juga dia butuh hiburan untuk melihat menikmatinya gitu. Jadi saya di atas 3 dasar itu saya akan memulai presentasi ini. Next. Okay, how did we treat an election event? Yang pertama, as a journalist, we should be trusted friends. KompasTV, Kompas.com, and Kompas Group is owned by journalists named Jacob Utama. We don't own by political parties, we don't own by political affiliation. Jadi dengan begitu, we have a neutral position. Jadi kami tidak dimiliki oleh siapapun. Jadi karena yang memiliki kami adalah jurnalis. Dengan begitu produk-produk kami itu jauh lebih objektif dan bisa dipercaya. Trusted friends juga berarti di tengah banyaknya sosial media hari ini, orang juga butuh informasi yang verified gitu ya. Dalam pemilu 2019 itu we have two sides. Indonesia itu terbelah dua, Jokowi and Prabowo. Dan itu terbelah menjadi dua. Nah, Kompas bisa menghadirkan keduanya karena kita tidak mendukung Jokowi dan kita tidak mendukung Prabowo. Jadi kita bisa mewawancarai Prabowo dan Jokowi dengan lebih leluasa ketimbang mungkin media-media yang lain. Terus yang kedua adalah give your audience what they need. Apa yang dibutuhkan audiens di Indonesia ketika Pilpres 2019? Satu, informasi, profiling, terus track record. Itu satu. Yang kedua adalah education. How to educate people about the election, about their rights to vote, about what they must to do in tempat pemilihan, terus apa yang mereka harus pikirkan untuk mempertimbangkan calon atau pilihan yang mereka lakukan. Ketiga, sosialisasi. Di 2019 kita melakukan pemilihan serentak DPR, MPR, dan juga presiden. Jadi kita punya begitu besar, banyak sekali pilihan, dan orang bagaimana memilih di lokasi pemilihan dan lain sebagainya. Itu yang kita sosialisasikan juga, karena targetnya adalah semakin banyak yang berpartisipasi, maka semakin baik kualitas pemilunya. Dan yang ketiga, ketika kita bicara tadi, channelnya adalah YouTube, kontennya adalah video, juga jangan lupa ada fun and light stories gitu, yang untuk mendorong orang untuk masuk dan mengikuti. Karena sesuatu yang penting, kalau kita tidak sajikan secara menarik, maka the message is nggak sampai gitu, pesannya tidak sampai. Tetapi orang akan memulai dari sesuatu yang menarik untuk mendapatkan sesuatu yang penting. Nah, ini penting sekali menurut saya yang ketika kita main di YouTube atau di sosial media. Okay, what did we do in our YouTube's live? First of all, live. We always live streaming, breaking news. We give people in Indonesia updating news, what happened in elections, what happened in candidate, what happened in KPU, what happened in the street. So we always live. And ketika kita melakukan live streaming, we open the chat forum to comment, to give people experience to comments gitu. Dengan begitu engagement-nya akan meningkat dan orang akan semakin banyak untuk melihat video atau konten yang kita sajikan. Yang kedua adalah chop. Jadi setelah live, kemudian konten tersebut kita chop untuk menjadi video on demand. Jadi anytime orang mau melihat lagi, kembali lagi melihat peristiwanya, dia bisa menontonnya kembali. Jadi kita meng-create banyak video. Strategi Kompas TV di YouTube adalah we produce a lot of video in a day, maybe around hundreds video in a day. So kita akan membanjiri mereka dengan informasi, dengan video-video sehingga mereka punya choice, punya pilihan untuk menonton apa yang mereka butuhkan dan mendapatkan informasi yang mereka perlukan. Yang terakhir adalah optimizing. Jadi video itu tidak hanya sekedar ditonton. Jadi kita mau lakukan optimizing. Selain engagement, kita juga men-share link kita ke banyak pihak supaya orang bisa masuk ke YouTube kita dan mereka mendapatkan message, mendapatkan informasi yang kita sajikan. Nah, ini yang kita lakukan selama pemilu presiden dan ini kita replicate terus menjadi dasar bagaimana kita bekerja untuk melalui kanal YouTube sampai hari ini. Okay, next. What kind of live? Ada pitch, itu pasti kita akan breaking news, debat kandidat di begitu, BTS behind the scene, persiapan ketika menjelang debat, persiapan menjelang pengumuman, situasi lapangan, situasi jalanan, situasi dan kondisi di sekitar KPU, kantor KPU, kantor pemilihan, dan lokasi pemilihan itu selalu kita update juga sebagai live streaming. Dan publik sangat suka dengan itu di publik Indonesia karena dia bisa melihat langsung, dia merasakan langsung situasi seperti apa. Live report of course. We do live report di anytime, terutama untuk konten-konten yang penting. Dan occurrences itu ya tadi pemilu 2019 adalah pemilu yang sangat panas gitu ya antara Prabowo dan Jokowi. Indonesia terbelah menjadi dua dan jadi banyak sekali peristiwa-peristiwa terutama ketika menjelang pengumuman hasil pemilu di mana hasil pemilu itu ditolak oleh kubunya Prabowo. Jadi publik bisa mengikuti dari layar atau channel YouTube-nya Kompas TV melalui live streaming. I give you note that ketika live streaming, in our experience, we like to start our live streaming 30 minutes earlier than the event. Why? Because we want to build audience engagement in comment section. Because people like to comment, people like to share, people like to discuss about the topic, about the video, and then it gives us the good engagement in that video. Next. Okay, and the results is if you search now in YouTube search live with the keyword live bill press 2019, you will find this. Top three is from Kompas TV. It's about live debate, gitu, tentang debat kandidat, mulai dari yang debat pertama hingga final debate. Next. Ini contoh satu video yang sangat sangat baik engagement-nya, sangat baik viewersnya. Ini diproduce Juni 2019, 23rd June. Dan sampai sekarang kalau teman-teman lihat sekalian, teman-teman lihat grafiknya itu, viewersnya tuh tetap baik, grafiknya tuh ke atas. Ini video bercerita tentang proses di Mahkamah Konstitusi ketika membahas persengketaan hasil pemilu waktu itu Prabowo dan Sandiaga Uno menolak hasil pemilu yang memenangkan Jokowi. Dan dari comments kita lihat tone-nya sangat positif. Inilah juga yang kenapa video ini bertahan gitu ya, cukup baik karena ini menunjukkan bagaimana hakim-hakim ini tidak terpengaruh oleh situasi, tidak terintimidasi oleh situasi, dan mereka tetap dengan keputusannya memenangkan Jokowi sesuai dengan KPU. Next. Okay, after live, what we do is a chop many story then see what will happen. Jadi banyak sekali kisah-kisah yang kita dapatkan ketika live streaming dan penonton mungkin tidak bisa mengikuti secara full ketika itu dilakukan live streaming. Kemudian yang kita lakukan adalah kisah-kisah yang menarik, topik-topik yang penting itu kita potong, kita chop menjadi video on demand. Tidak hanya yang ini adalah situasi di debat pertama antara Jokowi dengan Prabowo, di mana ketika itu Prabowo mau menjawab pertanyaan Jokowi tetapi belum pada waktunya, dan kemudian Prabowo bereaksi dengan menari. Kita bisa lihat sebentar.
Mohon maaf Pak Prabowo, jadi yang saya maksud tadi adalah mantan koruptor atau mantan napi korupsi yang Bapak calonkan sebagai caleg. Itu ada, IJW memberikan data itu jelas sekali. Ada 6 yang Bapak calonkan. Dan yang tanda tangan dalam pencalekan itu adalah ketua umumnya dan sekjen. Artinya Bapak tanda tangan.
Pak, boleh jawab?
Tidak boleh. Sebentar. Apakah waktunya sudah selesai untuk bertanya, untuk memberikan tanggapan? Sebentar. Kita tahan. Kita boleh tepuk tangan dulu waktunya, Chris.
Oke. Look simple sih ya. Jadi Prabowo menari dengan gerakan seperti itu, tetapi itu sangat viral ketika hari itu dan orang kemudian membicarakan tariannya Prabowo ketimbang membicarakan lebih banyak ketimbang membicarakan isi debatnya gitu. Jadi ya itu bisa menjadi menjadi mungkin salah satu ide ketika kita membuat konten gitu. Tetapi dari konten ini kemudian orang mencari tahu apa sih yang terjadi. Nah, ketika orang mencari tahu apa yang terjadi, disitulah pesan sesungguhnya atau informasi sesungguhnya mungkin dibutuhkan publik untuk memilih nanti di pemilu itu bisa diterima gitu. Oke, next. Ini yang terakhir adalah optimizing. Selain engagement tadi melalui komen, menurut saya juga kita secara terbuka juga harus berpikir bahwa konten kita bisa ditemukan, tidak hanya di Google Search, tetapi kita juga bisa share itu di banyak sosial media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok maybe. Tujuannya apa? Ya tujuannya agar apa yang kita sampaikan itu bisa menjangkau atau reach semakin banyak orang, gitu, sehingga misi yang kita ingin sampaikan itu juga bisa tersampaikan. Yang kedua, secara bisnis, secara perkembangan dari channel YouTube-nya Kompas TV sendiri juga orang bisa subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. Nah, jadi dengan pertumbuhan subscriber seperti itu, kita bisa lebih relevan dan efektif dalam menyampaikan misi dari Kompas Gramedia sebagai media independen dan terpercaya gitu. Next, maybe I think the last. Okay, the results is apa yang kita kerjakan dibandingkan periode 2018, our viewers were growing 300% and our subscriber were growing almost 400%. Jadi ini momentum yang sangat luar biasa dan I think we done very well in this momentum, dan kemudian dari sini orang menjadi tahu bahwa channelnya YouTube Kompas TV itu bisa menjadi acuan mereka untuk mencari informasi di tengah begitu banyaknya sosial media yang ada di Indonesia. Next. Okay, that's it. My sharing today. Thank you, Trina.
Thank you so much, Mas Alex. So, guys, just as a note, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask them. You can leave them in chat. We'll also have a short 10-minute Q&A session with the two speakers once we're done with the presentation. So up next, I would like to ask Andrew from MalaysiaKini to present what MalaysiaKini has been doing during their election coverage.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Cool. Hi guys, thanks Trina, Wang King, Adib for inviting me. Google has been very nice to MalaysiaKini, and I cannot imagine us getting this far without Google and GNI's help. I have been working in MalaysiaKini since 2005 in various capacities, and I have been reading MalaysiaKini since they launched in 1999. Can I just get a quick show of hands as to who is an editor or who is dealing in product? Could you guys use the raise hand feature? So yeah, one Hasmi is an editor. Anybody else? Okay, cool. Just want to know who I'm working with. So I guess the rest of you are journalists. I primarily, I apologize for not using a webcam. I'm very far away from my usual gear. I'm using my dad's computer at his house, and I can't get his webcam to turn on. I primarily deal with content, and I have a very unhealthy obsession with elections. Both the degrees, the thesis was on elections, on Malaysian elections specifically. And so I deal mostly in political content, and whenever I'm given a time, product, data, and metrics. So that's a bit about me. So a bit about my organization. We are, in ASEAN terms, we are considered a medium-sized newsroom, and we are driven primarily by subscription dollars, especially since COVID. So this organization was founded in 1999 by these two gentlemen that you see on your screen. They started MalaysiaKini 10 days before the election, and that's an important part of how MalaysiaKini was given birth and how they operated in the years to come. So the 10 days before the election in 1999, this new company called MalaysiaKini appeared, and they played a big part in reporting a lot of things that legacy media organizations couldn't. Like, for example, MalaysiaKini was the first to, I remember back in 1999 that MalaysiaKini was the first to report that PAS had taken over Terengganu. So that was not on TV at the time. I don't think other news organizations had websites at the time yet, but being on the internet gave that kind of advantage. So that kind of set the template for how we were to conduct elections in the 2 decades to come, is that we had to be first, we had to be accurate, we had to be fast, and that builds legitimacy. So the other thing that we actively conduct as part of our journalism during elections is making sure that the participants and the parties behave. So if the authorities can't take action, then we're going to have to be the watchdog for the public. So elections also is a all hands kind of event for MalaysiaKini. It doesn't matter whether if you're in finance or in marketing, you're going to have to work that night. You're gonna have to do things that you're probably never done before in your life, and everybody has to help out and squeeze into the newsroom. So elections is also a huge acquisition event. It's a huge top of the audience funnel event for MalaysiaKini. That's where we get a fantastic spike in new audiences, and the challenge is immediately after is to convert them and to make them stay. So historically, elections is a huge conversion event for MalaysiaKini. It brings us to a new equilibrium each time. It resets with each election. So we get to grow our subscriber base through elections, and that has been happening since 2008. Whenever we go into covering an elections, my team are given specific goals in mind. They are reminded that we are a value-driven organization, and we are there to serve a purpose. We're not just going to report horse racing or talking heads, but we are going out there so that our journalism can make a difference. And I hope that is what sets our journalism apart from other people. So, and the other two things that we always have this goal, which is we want people to get their results as easily as possible. And we want to be the first place that they will check for results. So it's like weeks of work that we have put in for those couple of hours when the counting takes place. So, and therefore we want to be the first to present the results. And an important part of what we do is we want to call the elections, we want to call the winner of the elections first. So I'm just gonna show you what we did in 2018. So this was the landing page for our live results. The live results landing page. Is basically, it is a two-page experience. So we have our dashboards on top, live reports at the bottom, and we keep it as minimalistic as possible. So everything is HTML, so we don't have to do some funny JavaScript. And once you click on the yellow full results page, it brings you to the second page, where you get details of all the seats that are up for grabs. So if you were to hover, thankfully in Malaysia, all our seats are coded. So there is a number that we can use. So we don't have to type out the actual names, and we can make a nice consistent circle for all the seats. And it is easy for people to look for the results. So what I want to talk about now is what we did to make sure that our readers get access to the results as fast as possible. So what you're seeing now on your screen is part of the dashboard. This was my idea. It was inspired by The Guardian. I think it was the 2016 elections. So the idea was that this was supposed to be cute and funny, and people should instantly recognize who these people represent, because they are supposed to be leaders of their respective coalitions or parties. It didn't work out very well. This was, it had some flaws. So instead, what we knew from what was being shared through WhatsApp and social media was people were more interested in the bar chart. It was a better way of representing who had crossed the finish line. In retrospect, we should have put up a line demarcating 112. That was the simple majority needed in order to form a government. We'll do that next time. But yeah, this was a lesson that we learned and we implemented moving forward. So we would never go back to caricatures. Also on the main landing page, there was a little widget dashboard kind of thing for state elections. So this, in retrospect, it served its purpose. It would tell people who is leading in which state, and the winners are color coded. But in retrospect, I will want to explicitly state in text who the winners were. So as I mentioned earlier, if you click on the yellow full result page, you're going to get this where we color code the winners so that it is easily accessible, so that you can control F and look for your seat that you're interested in as well. So we had a big advantage in coding the results over other organizations, and one of the key steps in order for us to do that is our ability to do verification. So if we were to get unofficial results before they are officially called, we need a system in order to check if the unofficial results that we receive make sense. So this the verification process is pretty intense. It was led by Nigel Au. I think it was a 2 or 3 person team. But it was enough for us to make very, very confident calls in order for us to push the results onto the landing page. And because we did a lot of homework in collecting data, we were able to set thresholds so that we know what it takes for a particular seat for us to be able to call the results fast before the official results are announced. So what we did right was we did a lot of preparations in collecting data. We had to think like a politician. We had to have the same exact data set that they have in order to make informed decisions in terms of manpower or how we want to call whether A or B has won in a particular seat, or whether or A or B has won in a particular seat, state or parliament. And what we did well was that we moved from wireframe mockups to the real site in a really fast manner. We did everything in-house. We could test among our peers, and then we constantly iterate until we were happy. We were never happy, but the point is that we constantly, it wasn't just one version. We didn't have to outsource it and deal with people outside who didn't understand what we were doing. But I cannot emphasize this enough, that the process of iteration whenever we prepare for election website was really important to us. And also we had to train our colleagues from other departments to do data entry and analysis. So this was done by Ko Anchi. She's now with Al Jazeera, I believe. And training our colleagues was quite challenging because we had to deal with certain questions, like, for example, is Najib the leader of BN, or is he the leader of UMNO? Or why is there a party with the logo of a bull? And they weren't familiar with a lot of politicians, political parties, or the election system itself. And all this had to be trained in order to make them efficient and data entry. So as I was mentioning earlier, we had a 2-step user interface. So it was hopefully not too difficult for our readers. And we also made sure that our tech team, our in-house tech team, sat with us throughout the whole, I think it was about 8 hours we were at it, 8 or 9 hours. And they sat with us throughout the entire period. And so if anything goes wrong, they were there to sort it out straight away. We bought enough server space, enough bandwidth in order to not run into problems. I know some news organizations had some problems during the 2018 elections. And we had backups for just about any FUBA event possible. ISP blockings, that happened. We had 2 ISPs who DNS blocked us. We were prepared for internet failure. And as well as we made it clear to Cloudflare and our hosting companies that things are going to get hectic. Please don't shut us down midstream, and we were prepared for all that. I cannot emphasize this enough. Catering was to make sure that everybody had enough calories to operate for about 8-9 hours efficiently. This was extremely important and cannot be understated, and it is part of the MalaysiaKini tradition that we make sure that we have enough calories in our staff for long durations. And during the 2018 elections, we will be able to, with all these things in place, we were able to call the elections at 2:30 a.m., 20 minutes before the winning party did, and roughly about 45 minutes before the official results were announced. So there was weeks of preparation that were put in order for us to achieve this kind of result in those crucial about 6 to 8 hours. And at one point we were serving up to 6 million concurrent users. So that was a big deal for us. And we have not been able to achieve that kind of result since. So maybe we'll do that again during the next election. Now I just want to briefly talk about what we did in the Sabah elections. We went in with the same mindset as I mentioned earlier, but we faced a different set of challenges. So now there were at least 20 political parties involved, whereas during the national elections there are a lot less. So there are just 3 main factions plus a couple of other independents. It was a lot easier to handle. And it wasn't just our audiences who were unfamiliar with the political terrain over in Sabah, but our colleagues, which we found out were also quite unfamiliar with what are the issues involved, who are the people involved, and what are the parties involved. So that was a problem that we had to solve. And then in Malaysia, voting by ethnicity is a bit of a trend. So that was something that we had to account for, and that is in Sabah the ethnic composition is quite different from the rest of the country. So we had to think about how to address this issue, since most of our readers were based in other parts of Malaysia, and we had to think of a way to introduce it to them. So we came out with 2 solutions, which is prior to the election campaign, we set out to explain to our urban readers what it means to have an elections, and we did it through maps. I'll show you. Oh, wait. So this is our map page. So it introduces who are some of the possible chief minister candidates, and then we went straight into maps. So we wanted to show our readers where the different ethnic groups, where will they be voting. So what you see on the map right now is Muslim Bumiputra majority seats. And followed by non-Muslim Bumiputra seats. So these are the highland areas, and what we wanted to show people was that when people vote in a place as big as Sabah, there are some different considerations. So the messaging from the political parties, they're a bit different, and this is sort of the background why. And it also serves as a way to educate my reporters who we sent there. We sent 4, I believe we were the biggest team from Kuala Lumpur to send a team to Sabah for the election. And later on, we had to explain, again, using maps on where we expect the most keenly contested seats to be, which in this case, the data showed us that it's going to be coastal areas where the chances of getting a simple majority more than 50% was a bit tricky. So we explained this again through maps. And again, as I mentioned, in the highland areas, there are different considerations. And again, we use maps to explain it. These were all coded by Lee Long Hui using Leaflet. For simple maps, it's not too difficult. Any one of us can do it with just some basic JavaScript. If you want something more complicated, you're going to have to hire Kwang Keng. He's on your chat on the right. Okay, and the second explainer piece that we did, we are going into an election which was confusing, partly because there were many candidates who defected. There were many lawmakers who defected prior to the election. So that added to the confusion within my peers as well and the editor. So we came up with a solution in order to solve it. So we had a very complicated spreadsheet to explain who defected, why they defected, where are they now, where are their allegiances now, and we decided that might as well we just release it. So on this selection screen, our readers can figure out who we think are the chief minister candidates, and most importantly, they can tell who the defectors are, who they are demarcated using this amphibian logo. And as I mentioned earlier, there are 20 parties, a lot of it which are unfamiliar to people outside of Sabah. So we provided an explainer, or sorry, not an explainer, but a way for our readers to see which are the candidates and where are they contesting. Like, for example, okay. So this, in conjunction with the maps, will be able to, our readers will be able to discern, for example, a party which they possibly might be unfamiliar with, such as Star. And from here, they'll be able to refer back to the maps earlier and see where, what are their strategies in terms of where they want to place candidates. So that was part of the reason why we did this explainer. So what we did right in Sabah was that we decided to solve an internal problem, and later on decided that we could release it to the public. Some of the key, from the feedback we got is at least our readers, they were able to keep track of who defected, why they defected, where they defected to, which was a big topic for the election. And this was a election involving 20 parties, so it can get a bit unwieldy, and that's why we came out with the experience to make sure everybody is clear on who stands on which side. With that, I'd like to conclude my presentation. If you need to reach me, you can reach me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Thank you very much.